Thank you. Mr. Cedillo.
Madam Chair. Unmuted. Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the discussion and the debate. This is a very serious matter. I am a renter, and I live in a district where 90% of the people who are here are renters. And so I think it's compelling for us to be as bold as we can be. And I want us to do that. I've asked us to do that many times. But I also think it's important to know the limits and to know that because circumstances are so challenging right now, because they're so challenging, that we do the right thing in making sure that we don't raise false hopes. And I think that's very important. Mr. O'Farrell today was particularly eloquent, and I'll just attach myself to his comments. But I will say that it's important for us to understand our limits and the limits of the law. Many of the things, as I always ask, what problem are we trying to solve? And so we want to solve the challenge of evictions. We've done that. We have perhaps the most far-reaching, within the law, the most far-reaching prevention of evictions anywhere. Now, we've heard that people are scared, that landlords are acting in ways that we find repulsive. People are putting notices. Let me say this to you. We have to understand there's no law that can be written that will stop criminal activity. Think about that. We can't write a law that says, okay, it's illegal to kill somebody. People still kill people. It's illegal to evict people. There will still be people who will try to evict people. So we can write the best laws, but you're talking about behavior that you believe, and we falsely believe, that it's going to stop this behavior. It is not. There are some people who are still going to try to evict people. There are going to be bullies. There are going to be landlords who are going to try to take advantage of people. Whatever nuance we're fighting over here, it's not going to solve that problem. It's just not. The laws that we have, and we heard from Judicial Council, are strong enough to protect us from all evictions right now. It's not possible. It's not feasible. Now, I appreciate all this stuff, but I do have some challenges with it, and some of it has to do with reality, right? So right now we know that half the city, half the county is unemployed. I would say about 85% of people are paying their rent. I think it's false for us to tell people they don't have to pay their rent. We want people to pay their rent. Many people are working, they should pay their rent. There are some who are more challenged than others in the city, and we know that. And the solution to that is not going to be some law that we make, but it actually is going to be creating more housing, more affordable housing, so people have a place to live. So that should be where we put our energy. We have to make a decision here, on whether or not we want to make a proclamation that sounds great, or whether or not we want to do the real hard work. And I have a sense of that. You know, I spent the entirety and beyond of my legislative career pursuing driver's license for immigrant motorists. I have a sense of that. You know what? We lost in the first committee. It took us about 2 years just to get it on the assembly side. But there was a commitment there to make it happen. That's where the real work is. You know, there was a challenge to Costa-Hawkins a few years ago. People went up to the legislature, it died in the first committee, and they've never been back. You know, that's the hard work that needs to be done, not putting on colorful T-shirts and honking your horn and, you know, making noise. I mean, that's fine, but we're legislators here. We have to do the hard work. We have to be responsible, respectful of our constituents, tell them the truth, let them know. And I will say this, telling them the truth is very critical to giving people peace, to giving them understanding to what our limits are. And saying, look, you know where our work needs to be done right now? In Washington, D.C. And Mr. Harris-Dawson was right. Landlords and tenants aren't equal, but also, unless we have the landlords, we don't have the tenants. And that's why us focusing our work on the Landlord-Tenant Protection Act is really where all this energy and much of this energy needs to go. So my objection to spending time on drawing up ordinances, our attorney can do that. But is that where we want to focus our energy? Why are we having this discussion and not a strategic discussion about how we move the agenda that we know will solve the problem? That's harder work. That takes more time. That's less glamorous. But you know what? That's where the real solutions come from. And so, as I don't disagree with any of this, and I represent 90% of the tenants, and I'm willing, when appropriate, to even seize somebody's property. But what I don't want to do is waste our time, because we don't have time to waste, because conditions are so dire, because people are challenged, because we are in a crisis. I don't have time, and we don't have time to waste with things that we know are not legal, and that then could have an adverse consequence on the people we say we're trying to help. An adverse consequence in a very real way, an adverse consequence to the city. This is not something that's modest. When we pursue with something that's illegal, there's an actions brought against us when we know it's been argued that we know that we are pursuing this and it's not legal, and these actions come against us, then we impact our ability to serve the people that we're honored to serve, to respond to the crises and the needs of the people that we're honored to respond with. And so, in conclusion, let me suggest that there are some elements of this in which we can move forward, but there are some elements of this that we just need to address and move forward and move on, because this is not the resolution. We are in city government, and we should do all that we can, and I believe that we are. We should be as bold as we can, and I believe we are. But we shouldn't delude ourselves. We are not activists who can afford the infatuation and delusion that taking place right now out in the community. We have to be responsible, have real solutions to real problems, like we say in our office all the time. That's what we're called here for to do in the city of Los Angeles. We aren't congressional members. We aren't state representatives. We aren't U.S. senators. We should do all that we can, set the example, lead by being responsible and bold and forward-looking, and call upon our legislative colleagues to do what they can. Let's be honest. Let's be truthful to the people we represent. There is no problem in telling them this is all that we can do at this point. And let's do that so that we can use our resources and energy protecting them, giving them the resources they need during this critical time period. But let's not give them any false hope, because that would be inconsistent with the things that we say we're trying to accomplish. Thank you.